Hearty soba noodles are a staple of Japanese cooking, and I'm going to be using them in a cold salad today with lots of fresh veggies and a super flavorful dressing. So when you're shopping for soba noodles for this recipe, it's good to look for a brand that lists some wheat flour along with the buckwheat flour in the noodles. That's because the wheat flour helps to temper the bitterness of the buckwheat a little bit, and the gluten that the wheat provides also helps to make the noodles a little bit springy, which is really nice. So we need 8 ounces of the noodles, and this is an 8.8 ounce package. Don't tell anybody, but I'm just gonna eyeball it a little bit here. We're gonna use almost the whole package. I have 4 quarts of water already boiling here, and you'll notice that I'm not adding any salt to the water. That's because most brands of soba are already salted, and we're also going to be combining them with a really flavorful dressing. So no salt needed. These take about 5 minutes, but you want to keep a close eye on them. So into the pot, I'm going to set my timer. So while the soba cooks, I'm going to move on to some nori. Now, nori is a seaweed, and it adds a really nice briny umami flavor to the salad. Also a little bit of crisp texture. I'm going to toast mine up over a gas flame. You can also buy pre-toasted seaweed snacks. Those work great here, and then you can skip this toasting step. But I like to do it over a gas flame. You can see it's a little bit floppy and chewy now. We're gonna toast it just to crisp it up a little bit, and it'll enhance its flavor a little bit too. So I just have a low flame here. You'll see it start to shrink up a little bit. See how it's changing color a little bit? That's exactly what we want. Oop, there we go. Okay, I didn't catch it on fire. All right, so I'm gonna come back over here and we're gonna cut up the nori. You can see already that it got nice and crisp. So I'm just gonna cut it into strips here. Wow. Extremely crisp. And now I'm going to cut them crosswise to make nice thin little crispy bits to go throughout the salad. All right, so the nori's ready to go. I'm going to go back and check the noodles. They have about 30 seconds, but I'm going to give them a quick test here. Okay, perfect. Those taste great. They're earthy, they're nutty, they have a ton of personality, and they're gonna be really nice in my salad. So I'm gonna take them over to the sink and drain them. This is a really important step. I'm gonna rinse the noodles in lots of cold water. This is going to remove all the starch that coats the noodles. If I left that on, the noodles would clump in the salad, but I wanna chill them down here, and I wanna rinse off all that starch. We need a sweet and savory dressing to complement the earthy noodles. So I have a bunch of tasty ingredients here, and we'll start with some fresh ginger. I'm going to just cut that gnarly end off. And then to peel ginger, use a teaspoon. And that way, the only thing that comes off is that papery skin, and you don't lose any of the flesh. Okay, so we just need a teaspoon of that. All right, teaspoon into my bowl. So lots of flavorful ingredients are going into this dressing. We're going to start with a tablespoon of water. That's just going to help mellow it out a little bit. We don't want it to be too strong. Next up is mirin. It's a Japanese rice wine, and you can find this in Asian markets or even in the Asian section of your supermarket. So we need 3 tablespoons of the mirin. My mom got me this measuring cup, and I love it. I use it all the time. It has measurements for tablespoons. It'll hold up to 4 tablespoons. So it's perfect for recipes like this when you're doing multiple liquid ingredients. So in goes the mirin. And next up we have toasted sesame oil, and that adds a really nice nutty taste. We need 2 tablespoons of that. Put that in. And then miso is really important to this dressing. It adds sweetness, it adds some umami, and it also adds really nice body to the dressing. And that's important because we want a thick dressing that's gonna cling nicely to the noodles, and the miso really helps to deliver that. Actually, I think I'm gonna use my cute little measuring cup again to get 3 tablespoons of that. And this is white miso, but you could use yellow, brown, or red. Any of them will work. Okay, so that's 3 tablespoons. And then we have a tablespoon of sesame seeds that will just add a little bit of crunch. We'll sort of echo the sesame oil that we already added. So a tablespoon of those. And then some pepper flakes, a half teaspoon. You can certainly use less. Okay, now we're just going to whisk that up. I guess this is my day for tiny little Tiny little tools. My little tiny measuring cup and my little tiny whisk that I absolutely love. If I had a big whisk for this job, it would be a little bit bulky, but for this little dressing, it's perfect and it's fun to use. I'm just gonna blend that up. You really wanna blend in that miso. It's time to put the salad together. So I have my soba noodles that are all drained now, and they're nice and cool because I rinsed them in cold water. And you can see they're not sticking at all, which is exactly what I wanted. And now we have our miso dressing. So we'll add that in. Okay, toss that together. All right. Looks great, smells great. We'll set those aside. And now I will prep all the veggies. Let's start with cucumber. So this is an English cucumber. We're going to use about 1/3 of it. So I'd say that's about 1/3. I am going to quarter the cuke. We like English cucumbers. They have a nice thin skin, so you don't need to take the skin off. Just going to use a teaspoon, scrape out the seeds. The seeds will water down the dressing. Okay, so there's our cukes, and I'm going to slice these thin on the bias, like this. So I'm slicing all of the vegetables strategically today. I have a different cut for each one. I want the veggies to tangle up in the noodles versus falling towards the bottom of the bowl. So for the cukes, these nice thin long strips work really well. Okay, there's our cukes. And now I have 4 radishes, and these will add a nice peppery bite to the salad. It's gonna trim off their ends here. Okay, so I'm gonna cut my radishes in half and then into nice little thin slices to make half moon shapes. Nice little shape, and nice color too. I mean, radish is such a beautiful color. I would wear a radish colored shirt if I could find one. Okay, there's our radishes. And now I have 4 ounces of snow peas. And first you wanna take the string off of the snow peas. Not all of them have a string, but you can just pull off the little tip here and pull down the string. Okay, now for the snow peas, we chose to do matchstick cut. So I'm gonna stack some of them up vertically like this, and then just cut them straight down. And so that gives you this nice long shape that will tangle with the noodles. Okay, and finally I have 3 scallions that'll add a nice mild oniony taste to the dressing. So I'm just gonna cut off the ends here. And these I'm going to cut on the bias into thin strips. I'll do a couple at a time. So we're using the white and the green part of the onion. All right, so there's all our veggies. Time to mix up the salad. So I'll take my dressed noodles here and I'll put in all these beautiful veggies on top. So pretty. And our nori strips that we toasted up earlier. Put those in. If I was serving this, I would probably bring it to the table with all the veggies on top and then kind of toss it at the table. Kind of dramatic way to serve it. And you can see all those veggies, all those different cuts are getting tangled in the noodles as I toss here. I think that is ready to go. So I'm going to put it on a platter here. All right, that is a pretty good looking salad, if I do say so myself. I love that earthy brown color of the soba noodles and then all the beautiful vegetables. It looks healthy and delicious and just what I want to have for lunch. I'm gonna dig in here. All right, there's no delicate way to do it. I'm just gonna dive in. That is really good. The dressing is savory and sweet from the miso. You can taste the sesame oil and the sesame seeds. It's subtle, it's refreshing, delicious. I really hope you'll make this salad, and if you do, remember you want to rinse the noodles really well so that they don't clump. You want to make a nice, thick, flavorful dressing that'll cling to the noodles, and you want to chop up those veggies in different shapes so they tangle up inside the salad. So from America's Test Kitchen at Home, one of my favorite recipes, chilled soba noodle salad.
Thanks for watching. You can get all the recipes and product reviews from this season and more on our website. That's americastestkitchen.com/TV.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.